Brent Pry, we're going to obviously know more once we get to spring practice, see the team on the field through August camp, see schematic differences, that sort of thing. But when it comes solely to recruiting, may be difficult to assess at this point. He's done a tremendous job retaining and also adding to what is the 2022 class. Do you see any kind of, based on what he was able to accomplish, based on what's come out of his mouth, any differences in approach?
Well, yeah, I mean, the clear one is the prioritization of Virginia in recruiting, something that Justin Fuente kind of went hot and cold on in his 6 years in Blacksburg. At first, he came into a press conference, Justin Fuente did that, back in late 2015. His introductory press conference, he talked about recruiting Virginia, and he did it for a couple of years, then started kind of recruiting all over the place. And the bottom line is he didn't really establish the relationships needed with a lot of the schools in Virginia that had been a priority with Frank Beamer at the helm in the past. Brent Pry is more cut from the Frank Beamer mold in that respect, where, he was a GA under Beamer and Bud Foster. So he knows, and he's from Virginia, right? So he knows how important it is to recruit the state and what the state of Virginia means to recruiting at a school like Virginia Tech. So the prioritization of the state of Virginia, I think, is going to be the clear break between him and Justin Fuente. I think it'll be consistent. I think that the signing class, even though it's, a lot of these guys, like I mentioned, were Justin Fuente commits, the fact he was able to keep those guys and now he's looking to add a couple more, and he flipped some guys, and it's just clear that they're going to try to make an impact in state because there is a lot of talent in Virginia. Like, nobody's going to pretend that Virginia is Florida or California or Texas even. But if you're making a list of top 7 or 8, states in the United States where high school football is the most talented, right? Most talented states in the country, Virginia is up there. I mean, Virginia is a top 5 to 10. They're probably in that range. So a lot of talent in state, a lot of guys who are playing big time football at other schools that Virginia Tech can try to keep home. I mean, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Alabama, like they're pulling kids out of Virginia regularly. You look at the last few years, you look at the top 10 to 15 prospects in the state of Virginia, and you look at where they've gone. There's no reason why Virginia Tech can't get, at least 4 or 5 of the guys in the top 10 in Virginia. That's what they had always done prior to Fuente. So I don't think anybody's expecting Brent Pry to come in and get all 10 of the top prospects and get 5-star, if you got 2 or 3 5-stars in a class out of Virginia. I don't think anybody's expecting Brent Pry to nab all 3 of those guys, but maybe pick off one every couple of years, maybe consistently get 4-stars from Virginia to commit to Virginia Tech like he used to. That would be a really good start, something that Justin Fuente was not doing.
Traditionally, out of the top 300 to 500 players in the nation, California, Texas, and Florida produce 40% of them. It's just off the charts ridiculous. Georgia's made a huge move in recent years in becoming just a football-laden state, even overtaking in some categories California for 3rd place. I'm looking at a map right now that's running down top 500 recruits. Ohio gets a ton of respect. It's not what it used to be decades ago, but it gets a ton of respect as being on that next layer. Virginia has as many top 500 players as Ohio. It's in the top 7 or 8 in the country.
Yeah, so you're any given year you're in that 5 to 10 range, and somewhere in the middle, and there's a lot of talent. And when you see these kids going to Clemson and going to North Carolina, like UNC, I didn't mention them a minute ago, but UNC's had a ton of success coming into Virginia and poaching Virginia Tech guys. And it was pretty funny because when Justin Fuente first got to Blacksburg, he was primarily recruiting Virginia and North Carolina. And so those were some of his best recruiting classes, snagging the talent out of the state of Virginia and neighboring North Carolina, taking them from UNC, something that Mac Brown has done now in the latter half of Justin Fuente's tenure, and something that Brent Pry is going to try to shut off, I'm sure.
I'm going to guarantee that Ohio State has plucked a couple players out of Virginia.
Travion Henderson. Oh, yeah. Travion Henderson, ball player.